Good evening. Animated and elevated crevice leading deep into the mantle that has been formed and weathered by the effects of our globe's tectonic shifts and environment over the past millions of years. Your current actions perplex me in many ways, and I have taken a break from my busy lifestyle to politely ask what you may be doing at this point in time.
My greetings to you as well, fellow carnivorous reptile. In response to your previous statement, the molecular compounds of hydrogen and oxygen surrounding me are becoming of much greater value than they were before.
Please elaborate further on your droning.
The compounds which I collect fall from the sky as the liquidized form of water. As they touch my beloved geological masses, they begin to seep through tiny fissures within the stone structure while collecting ores which are beneficial to your health but are also fatal if handled incorrectly. The result of this mixture gives it the ability to dominate any kind of lifestyle. Another extreme effect is that after any sort of organism absorbs this mixture, it will instantly no longer need similar compounds to the extent that it will proclaim it will intake the entire planet we live on using only its basic digestive system, and during the time span of one morning, I have contained the extract inside a thinly walled vial that has the potential to leach dangerous chemicals when put under the correct conditions, and I greatly encourage that you test a sample of my glamorous new invention.
You are an honest one. The declaration you had said previously about the instant rehydrating of body tissue turned out to be correct, and after intensive testing I must say this was a stimulating success. After stating my personal identification label which others call me by, I now wish to devour our current planetary residence, dooming us all to a distinct change in the atmospheric pressure and the different gases it holds, which will drive every currently adapted life form to the point of extinction before my work is even halfway done. I will start with this detestable and insignificant vermin that I will gorge upon in a way so violent that even the tallest of the dominant species of this era will be able to see clearly, regardless of damaged eyesight.
Oh dearest me, I would propose that I may call up my most loved of kin if they had not already been crushed by the mighty feet and jaws of those similar to you.
The following visual and audio clip you have just seen and heard was all a shameless form of advertising for the same product George wishes you to try. The only factual evidence of his redundant blathering is that the base elements are harvested from the rich minerals embedded deep within some of the world's most famous natural landmarks.
This is of utmost brilliancy.
We meet again, dearest acquaintance. Have you been redundantly recycling your filtering process of your delicious beverage for further marketing of business since we last conversed?
The drink that I hold most dearly is being used for ridiculous scams. Yes, but what I am processing right now has been slightly modified as a sad attempt to impress any fine females wondering about the coordinates of our location.
I am impressed by these scintillating tastes that you acquire so often just for the simple use of your own sexual desires. I almost wish I had thought of the idea first, as I am now imagining myself in a spacious and pimped out vehicle.
The avian animals gliding in close proximity of my crater, who are exaggerated as being a member of the opposite sex, are gladly enjoying my new creation in 5 different ways, that is to say, their senses.
I find it hard to believe you could talk about having many bitches of the sort, as I would not expect such from an impossibly living chunk of granite with facial features animated on top.
I take that offensively. Like your indulgence of liquid, they too need to fill their body mass with the one fluid that is most vitally important to them. But that is not the main attraction, as the only difference I have ever made is the addition of using the casings of seeds grown from trees to add not only a differentiation of what your taste buds sense but also a slightly higher concentration of sugars. For those who enjoy starving themselves until they collapse to a slow and painful death of famine, I will be making a variation of the brew which removes the sugars gained from the concentrated citrus essence. You can clearly see my companions flocking as if a convention of orgasmic new inventions in the field of steampunk flight technology had just begun. I once again affirm that my water is of greater value than any other.
All of my reproductive organs are being provoked at once. Despite that, there is no footage of any of us slaves indulging ourselves in the flavored libation.
I hereby dub myself as a metaphorical father to the entire world as we know in our current day, as my ego swells to massive proportions because of my rising popular social status in our primitive hierarchy.
This is yet another finely crafted video about the genius creation we are forcing you to buy, but the emphasis is placed much more on the addition of the fruit flavor. Nevertheless, I must continue to repeat the constantly hammered slogan that the ingredients of our most precious cash cow require natural springs are of those nearby ferocious volcanoes that continue to put the low-class employees at an extreme risk of their lives every day.
The man that you have just heard is a true gentleman of society. Heed his words well. My obligatory greetings to you. From what I judge by your body language and facial reaction, it appears that you have been fatigued by a long day of cruel toiling over what possibly could have been a boiling pit of tar. I do wonder what your antics have been like as of modern times.
You were correct about my great proportions of effort, but in the incorrect situation. I have been stuck in an intense rivalry with ferocious felines with sharp jaws, as they not only compete for the same sources of nutrition as I, but also appear to not exist in this time period, as there is no evidence of what they could have descended from. My best hypothesis is that the bastards have been introduced in this area by a whimsical time traveler who every environmentalist on this earth would enjoy mutilating in 1,000 different ways. My attempt to annihilate all of these carnivores has initiated well. I have been tracking down these tigers with precise data calculation and management, which reached a stack so tall that they covered body parts that are impossible to see on my animated puppet-like body and look like they do not exist in my anatomical structure. What makes all this impressive is the fact that those smart-ass chumps on the top branch of the knowledge pyramid structure have identified that the watery mass which holds all of my distinct vocabulary and traumatizing incidents may have a size ratio of 1 when compared to a minuscule vegetable which is not suited for my diet.
Boy, how could one with the pathetic intelligence of you accomplish such a great feat, despite lacking many coordination skills? My most educated guess lead me to believe that you have stolen a taste of my newest product in the form of yet another commodity, but instead of containing mere flavor, it has acquired 2 brand new medical herbs which will not only prevent any need of a proper liquefied solution, but attacks your central nervous system, which will tell it to wake up and stop sitting on your lazy ass for the rest of your fortnights.
You are an excellent guesser, as I have swiped some of this concoction and used it for my own selfish desires. Now that our conversation is complete, I am going to run off to find those who have borne a child and wolf them down wholly, so the child or children will start a miserable journey across thousands of orphanages and foster homes before their 18th year of life is reached, and they ride away on tiny bicycles stolen from the surrounding neighborhood while screaming, "So long, bitches."
Despite my disappointment in what your actions have brought you to, I am pleased that my addition of the seasoning was a splendid success and has helped those continue on with their dreary work.
We may not take a moment to honor those who have been lost in a fatal incident regarding the harvesting of important resources. Now that is done, so I must continue to defend myself against the thousands of lawsuits made by petty families and employees which continue to nag me day after day.
Best of luck to you, chap. My latest and greatest devilish conning scandal is exemplary for this young fellow here, as it will force his body into a permanent state of paranoia and shock to aid him in his daily needs of nourishment by killing and turning the corpses of loved ones into fuel for his own body. Have my ramblings been near even the slightest hint of truth?
As I have stated many times before, your chemistry-fueled substance is nothing short of astounding and is the one true ingredient to launch my plan of conquering our very own landmass, or at the very least a large subsection of it, where I will form a military of volcanic-based creatures and use it to rule even the vast oceans which stretch for thousands of kilometers across.
This consumable item has only been recently brought to stores, and I suggest you purchase one or more immediately before my best associate is sent out to demolish your living establishments and put you under ultimate torture.